All right, so hopefully you noticed the crows of these three reeds were a little bit different from one another, and that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today, is why it's important to understand the different types of crow and what the crow is telling you, and really why it's important. When you're making reeds, the crow is what dictates where you're going to scrape next. Or if you buy reeds and you get them in the mail, the reed, when you crow it, it'll tell you how it's going to respond, if your low notes are going to come out easily or not, or if it's just really hard and it's going to be pretty effortful. So knowing how to crow correctly can help steer you and guide you as you make adjustments to your reeds. And reeds are always changing. Even if you have a perfect reed, it might not be perfect tomorrow. So let's go ahead. I'm going to crow these reeds again, and these are in various stages. I have one here that I've played probably almost its whole life expectancy on it, so it did a couple concerts for me. But it's starting to get a little tired, so this is what it sounds like. Okay, and then I have one that I made, but I haven't really played on it very long yet. I've maybe practiced on it once or twice for just a few minutes. Okay, now what I notice is this crow seems to hold together nicer. It's a little warmer, and it just really, it takes the air and it has a great level of resistance. But what you want to listen for is first the C, or close to a C, it might be slightly under sometimes, it comes out first. So listen to that. So that's a B, sounds like a B to me. But so this one, like I said, it's newer, I haven't really played it yet. Ideally you want it to be a C or just a smidgen flat C. But, because as you play it, the pitch tends to rise a little bit and settle at a C, at least in my reeds. Now, so listen again. You see how a lower crow comes in at the end. It started with the high and then the low comes in. But this reed, it took a little while for that low octave to come in. And what that tells me is this reed, it's a little bit hard. It could vibrate a little bit more. Now, we might demonstrate this here in a little bit so you can hear it when it's played. So that's basically the crow. You're listening for the high and then the low. Now, compare that to this reed, which is getting a little tired. So, it's a little more rattly. Yeah, I feel in general the lower octave, it does come in slightly sooner than the one before, but it's more rattly and it feels tight. So this reed, although I could work on it to revive it and play it a little bit longer, I'm going to move on just because I have other reeds I can play. But if I had to in a pinch, I could absolutely scrape a little bit on this reed and free up those vibrations so it comes in even sooner. Okay, so you want the second octave to come in pretty closely after the first. If you crow your reed and you don't hear a second octave at all, if that's all you hear, then that could be a couple of things happening. It could be that you're a little tense here in your throat and you just need to relax a little bit. You could be pushing too hard or pinching, maybe not using. You could use a little more ooh of an embouchure, because it's really a loose embouchure when you crow. It's very ooh and round. If you're tight, if your teeth are really close together, you could be pinching it and canceling out that crow. So I always tell people, every single person, their crow will sound different from one person to the next, even if it's the same reed, because we all do different things with our embouchure and with our air. Another thing to note that's super important when crowing a reed, you do not want to do this and just blow as fast as you can and as much air as you can into this little reed, because that's not teaching you anything. It sounds harsh it hurt my ears, and I was the one who crowed it, so I'm sure the audio on the camera went whoop, way to the right. But it doesn't teach you anything. It teaches you that if you overblow the reed, which is what you just did, that it will make sound. And when we play, we want to be comfortable. We don't want to overblow the reed at all, because you're going to be working harder. Your embouchure will work harder. You'll feel probably more tired when you play. So a better way and approach to crowing your reed is, before you even try to get that double octave crow, test your response of the reed. See if it peeps. What I mean by that is, you'll put just the tip of the reed in your mouth, so like this, and then like you're blowing out a candle, that's how much air I want you to put in. But you start with a slow amount of air, and then you see, as you speed up your air a little faster, so the candle's not blowing out right, it's just shaking, and you're like, oh, I have to use more air. How much air does it take for the sound to come out, for the candle to blow out? So listen here. Now, this one could use a little more response. So meaning I want it to come in sooner. So like this reed, doesn't take much at all to get that peep out. So that's really the first test I do, is before I crow it, is to do the peep test. Because if it's hard and it won't come out, here's a different reed altogether. Or it just kind of, it just like sneaks out, like kind of loudly all of a sudden, then that tells me, okay, this reed is a little hard. And this is in fact a new reed that's unfinished. So yeah, it could be, use a little more out of the tip. So once you know if the tip is too thick or too thin, then you can move on to the double octave crow, where you put more of the reed in your mouth to about the thread. Yeah, so this has good potential, but it could come in a little sooner. And this is new, so we'll scrape on that a little bit more. But I hope breaking that down and the crow is helpful for you, because even if you're not making your own reeds yet, when you buy reeds or you get them from someone else, you can always crow them before you play them, so you know how they're going to respond. So test the peep, see if you get the first octave C in and then the one right after it, and how much effort does it take to get that lower crow. Because if you're making reeds and you are just you're not going to learn anything. It's just going to tell you this has potential to crow, but how much work is it going to take to get that crow to come out? So do yourself a favor and just really take a step back. Evaluate, how are you crowing your reed? So, and with that said, I think it'd be fun to just demo what the different crows sound like and articulate. Now, like I said, I have one that's almost finished, one that's not quite finished, and then one that's overplayed. So we'll start with the one that is just about finished. So let's do the peep and the crow. Yeah, this one, it's close. I think it just needs to be played and settle in here. So let's see. Yeah, and the response test, so like that peep test, that really will play in when you're articulating low notes, like coming in softly on a low note, or just trying to articulate in general. So you could experiment with that. And this one needs a little bit more. Yeah. Not bad though. It's very, very close. I just need to play it. And determine where to scrape next. Or sometimes they just need to be played a little bit. That might be what that needs. Now this one is the tired one. Yeah, it's tired. It was good in its day. Yeah, and you can tell it doesn't have much substance to it anymore. So that I learned that from the crow too, because the crow was really tight and it feels restricted. I feel like I can't put all of my air into this reed. It just can't handle it. This reed is still pretty new. I think I've scraped on it maybe 2 times and then I let it sit. So let's give it a crow. The lower octave needs to come in a little sooner. So this tells me it's probably going to be a little hard, but the balance feels nice. So it might sound okay, but it's going to be a little hard when I go to articulate. This one, it needs to go a little bit more. So I think a little more out of the tip and then get that lower crow to come in sooner and then we'll be in business because it's just a little bit hard. So I hope, friends, that was helpful. If you need reeds, you can check out my website. If you need supplies or cane, I did just update that. So take a look, I'll link it in the description box. And also really exciting, coming up in March, I'm going to be doing a beginner's reed making course. So if you have never made reeds before, you really want to learn, but you don't know where to start, then it's going to be perfect for you. Or maybe you've tried before and you just feel a little lost, because really with reed making, you need a system of how to do it to get the best results faster. So I am putting all of that together in a 6-week program for you. So there'll be videos to watch step by step how to do it, so you do it, and then we'll meet live. And so it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm super excited about it. And if you're interested, I'll put the sign up for the wait list below. So hop on that, and that way you won't miss it when it comes out. So with that, friends, I will see you next time. Bye.